Blemba Chicken Charmaine, Mkhateke Mkin, a whole bunch of other AKAs. The Sobering Podcast with the Dojo Podcast.
The
Special
Dojo.
episode, the Sobering Dojo.
Yeah.
What's up, fellas?
I like that.
Salute.
No.
If you get it, you get it. Hey, man.
It's Big Fred, aka Mr. Miyagi. I mean, we're in the dojo, so you know.
Yeah.
Young Mr. Miyagi. You know, it's alright. Something light.
Kiki's off it.
Salute.
Hey, man. It's the Archbishop, 1/3 of the Dojo Podcast. And,
Alala.
I need.
It's
Blooming nice.
Tabang from the dojo.
I'll take.
I never say my AKA.
I'll take him.
Thing of Sebisa Lebana, Sebana Lito for Ray.
I'll take. Why am I taking about another?
Give me Ghana.
Why don't you introduce yourself as a fraction?
Yeah?
As a fraction, 1/3 off.
1/3 off.
Yeah, I am 1/3.
of the unit, yeah.
By the way, we got a special guest.
Yeah.
Surum Tomrol.
In his house.
Sorry.
Yeah, man.
I want him guy intro of it.
I can bottom guy intro until at la podcast thing around.
This is the guy that has dodged every year.
The most elusive.
Every year.
Let me tell you, since 2014.
Dog, since its inception.
Yo, that's how long y'all niggas
That's
been
how
trying to-
long, dog.
You're trying to land the whole
Running.
there's no
Eminem.
check.
There were times we were running.
2015.
Yeah.
Let me not lie, 2015.
There were times we were running after him while he was putting flyers
on the
wind
wipers.
screens.
Come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Please come.
He's like,
Leave me alone. I'm handing out these flyers now.
We just always missed each other. Guys.
A diplomatic answer.
But yo, man, let's give the man the due respect. Like basically a staple in the hip hop community, a legend.
Yeah, man.
A father, a forefather, and an ancestor basically to these people.
Yes,
God
I'm just a guy working
Yeah, I know.
for the culture. And, none of
He's
that.
gonna downplay it, man.
It's fine. He can downplay it all he wants.
Downplay
none
it.
of that.
Downplay it. Gave your
I do what
favorite
you guys are
rappers
doing.
their first check. The first time we were an active humans in the music space, the first check we got was from Back to the City. No?
No, it wasn't it wasn't the first one.
Was
it was
not
a
the
good
first?
one. No, it wasn't the first one.
At least there was a check from Back to the City.
It wasn't
Okay,
the first.
then we got a check
He
from
put us
Back
on the
to
main
City.
stage too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So man, your favorite rapper's first check probably came from him. You know, opened his doors to a lot of people, a lot of brands.
Some rappers have a tender because of this man.
Shout out all the rappers that got tenders because of this man.
Yeah.
Just somebody that really is a custodian of the culture as a whole. We're
Facts.
honored to be speaking to him today, man. Like, shout out.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a
General.
It's a
very
big deal. It's a big deal. We might joke around, but it's a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah,
Out.
Well, thank you for visiting.
I know for sure.
Yo, man. And we in the space. We in the hip hop museum,
Actually,
man.
we've had the pleasure at least of having Osmic wear his other cap on the dojo.
Yeah.
He's played at our gig.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he's played. I mean,
No, I DJ'd.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yes, I'm saying wearing a different cap.
Podcast
just
beef
on a
is
different
starting now.
stream of the
Podcast beef.
pod. He came and played.
Sure.
At the Branston house party.
Yeah, the Branston event.
Yeah,
The Branston event, yeah. And now the first time I ever heard of the homie was on Kanagin, the bridge.
Oh, in the YFM days.
YFM.
Ace of Spades.
Ace of Spades.
Yeah, Ace of Spades.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they something as Osmi, as Ace of Spades. But then later found out.
Yeah, they even played some of our music on there while in a different life.
In a different life.
you know.
Yeah.
Man.
Like
So
I
that
said,
was in high school.
I just work for everybody.
Brother here was in high school on YFM. Dog.
Oh, really? Believe it, man.
Yeah.
Mixing was going crazy. My mixing was wild. Bluetooth was crazy.
You know?
Like I said, I work for everybody.
Yeah.
That's
probably true.
That's my job, is to work for everybody.
I think on our side, like maybe our listeners, especially those, they might not be aware about like the badges the homie has, and it's
For
like,
sure.
Yeah, like maybe if we can just just briefly, just some of the things you've done in the game and why you have the respect that you you have so that those who don't know?
I haven't done much, but
Yo, come on, B. Come on, B.
Yeah,
But I have
Mr. Humble.
so the little I've done over the years, I think what sort of sparked everything. I want to say the graffiti pod. I want to say the graffiti around standard 5. I don't know what grade
Grade
that's
7?
called.
Yeah.
So I was in a crew called SEC, still very much active right now.
Shout out.
And what I think why I'm always like super happy when I see an SEC sign up, because we was kids and we were just messing around. And it was this passion that was driving us crazy. But what we didn't realize at the time, that actually in Joburg was like the first 2 crews, the first 2 graffiti crews at the time. But sort of at that level, And obviously this is an influence coming from seeing people like your Jojas and, because I think back then, I think influence was important because, when I was a kid, I was coming from, I was in primary school, I think standard 1, and I used to just draw my name, and I saw this rapper-looking old man painting a wall in the middle of scary town, and I got off the bus, and that's how I met Joja.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Shout out to Joja.
Yeah, shout out to her.
So I think that's sort of the first thing, and I think my approach to when it came with graffiti, for instance, was how to influence more people to go in. So from day one, my thing was once I was able to perfect it, I would teach others. So I'd always like recruit and like teach you and there'd be more things up. You know what I mean? So a lot of dudes that you see on the streets, a lot of them try to have a hand in assisting, so to speak. And it's amazing when I see some of them still up and doing some of these amazing things. But I think the next thing I think was the magazine.
Ritual.
So the Ritual magazine, which I think I was around standard 7. And even with that, what was cool about it was because around that time, like movements were popping everywhere, Squatter Camp had just dropped they tape, not album, they tape. So they had this amazing compilation with all these different crews. And that's how I met the Squatter Camp guys.
The
The
original crew, yeah?
So that's how I met these dudes when I went to Slicker's mom's house, and I met Infa there, and all those. And around that time, my production partner was also Dome, so because I was making beats.
Sweet.
So I think that was cool. Why? Because it captured sort of the mood of what was happening. Gandhi Square was like a thing now. The club was, I think it's like now towards the end of the club, when like now taxi drivers were going there, because at the end of the club, it was like Wild Wild West.
It became something else, yeah.
It was like, you know what I mean? And then after that, I think the mixtape, when I did so I've always had a love for radio. And obviously now I'm like in standard 9. And I'm in, how am I going to get on radio? I'm in standard 9.
Yeah.
Where do I, And around those times, we'd gotten this job to paint, I can't remember what it was, but I was able to, and I used to sell lyrics. So I was very,
Ghostwriter.
I was known. No, not a ghostwriter. So I used to, so this is obviously in the age of internet is very scarce, right?
Know exactly what
So
you mean.
I cracked a site called, I think it was called Ola.com or something.
Yeah.
Original hip hop.
But no one knew it.
Archive.
Yeah.
Right? And I managed to crack LimeWire. No one knew it. And I would like get all these albums, I'd get all these lyrics, and I'd print lyrics out and sell lyrics.
Now we got genius and shit.
So, now you got genius. So there was no genius. You had to write that shit out. So I'd sell those things.
Stop. Rewind.
So everyone couldn't figure out how I was doing it because it was neat. It was, because you know how they come out chorus.
Sure.
Yeah.
The name of the rapper, the chorus, times 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone thought I was sitting
times
there
4.
typing the stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm typing these things. right? And I was selling like $20. Selling
$20 in those days.
yeah, $20 a lyric.
For a song.
Yo,
Yeah,
That was so much.
charging niggas, yeah.
So you taking?
How much were niggas carrying
in
to
high
school,
school?
man?
huh?
How much were niggas carrying to school?
I had a lot of money in high school, like a shitload of money.
But this is Joe.
because I was
so we
slinging.
don't relate.
Yeah.
I was slinging. I was slinging these albums. I was selling an album at like $150, because an original album was $250.
Yeah.
So I was bootlegging it, right?
That's
so
interesting.
Yeah, now we must see the
That's expensive.
Wait. If we're talking about like the internationals that they used to
Talking
sell
about
at the CD
internationals.
warehouse, that they weren't printed here.
$350.
You'd have to.
The CD
yeah,
was
it was expensive.
A
back
Wu-Tang
then.
double disc
Yeah.
was 400 rand.
Well, I don't know about 400, but it was expensive.
You know,
I don't know. Maybe Double Master Ace. It's
the commercial one.
Yeah, Eminem show in the
nah, not those.
Yeah,
Nah,
it
nah.
is.
I'm
That's why
talking
you get
about.
it until you
I'm
tell
talking
CD
about
warehouse
like
fan.
Cage. I'm talking about things you wouldn't just get. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like there's the underground and there's the other underground. You know?
I hear you.
And what's interesting for me, just in that bookmark, obviously as you expand, it's very interesting that actually I would have thought the business bag probably hit you later. You know, the foundational stage was more like still the art, you know.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting that actually at that age, you was already thinking the economics of the game. Yeah.
Well, I just need to buy it. I just need to buy spray cans to spray trains. That's what I didn't say, I'm making business. I just
Yeah.
needed cans. We couldn't afford cans. Cans
So
were
that
like
was means to an end. Okay.
for like 16 rand, and you know, and in graffiti culture, there's something called wrecking. You can go wreck cans. Wreck cans means you go in and you steal cans. But I'm just like, nah, it's cool. You know, I'd rather just hustle the little dough, and you know. So out of that, I managed to buy myself a little studio equipment. It's like a Pentium R. It was a Shure SM58.
Damn.
It was a Behringer, like a very small bootleg Behringer. At the time, I think there was a Hammerhead. Got like some bootleg of Hammerhead. For those that don't know Hammerhead, it's just before Fruity Loops. So I had Hammerhead, then Fruity Loops 1 came out. It was horrible. You know, you'd record on Acid. Acid is a program, by the way.
Yeah.
Just gotta clarify.
Just so we clear.
So because I was already making sort of beats around that time, and what it did is that it allowed me now to get, you know, friends and like, yo, come to my bedroom studio and record. And that's how half of Adama's album was recorded. That's how some of Tab, like I think I did like a Tab's track there. Quite a, you know what I mean? It became like the spot, the bedroom. But why that Hell's Kitchen thing became the thing was because at the time, so I had this thing where like, and then also I didn't have friends. Like my crew members like just ditched me, right? Because I had all these ideas like, yo,
You were
let's
crazy.
do this thing. Yeah, if we do this, no, let's not. It's like, I do that. Nah, peace out, right? I was like, all right, okay. So I started rapping by myself, and I made a crew called John and Company. So what I did is we did the album. Also, it became like a thing. So with John and Company, it was 3 rappers on it, but it was just me changing my voice. That's all it is.
Damn, that's
I didn't have friends.
Boom stuff.
Yeah, I didn't have friends. So I was changing my voice.
And you
And
on the
then
beats
out
as
of
well.
that, I did the beats. And the beats, obviously, at that time was the other underground. And I would then just like take all these songs and just backtrack over them. And then when I recorded the stuff for the interview, I think that first one had Ginny Greneth, I think. Ginny Greneth. So it's like an interview, yeah. So, yo, how's the album coming? What's happening? Da 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 da. Okay, da 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 da. Okay, and then we play the song, and then we got someone else. Yo, okay, we got so and so now. Da 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 da. We play the da 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 da. I'm sure you guys know what that's called now, right?
what?
Podcasting.
Oh shit.
You know, that's what it's called now. So
I see that.
So because of my then I print this tape, and I start sending this tape, right? So it sounds like it's a radio show on a cassette tape. So the thing that I did that I thought was super cool at the time was when you bought the tape or you bought all these things, you put your phone number and your email address. But what I was now doing was collecting database.
I thought you were gonna say, what do you call this now?
Database. So I still have some of the data. It's, you know, so I'd collect all these things, and then I think around my trick we did the Sprite campaign. So now we had a crew called PCP, something projects. There was me, there was Rusty, there was Nick, there was I think Ginny Grindeth was there. I can't remember who else was there. We did some Sprite campaign. You guys might remember it called See Through. See Through You or something like that, where we were just bombing billboards, right?
Yeah.
And that money from that is the seed capital I got when I left high school and I started ritual stores. So that's where that money came from. And then, so straight out of high school, I started this ritual stores thing. And obviously purely from the idea of there's all these amazing people around, you know, that I'm seeing, you know, there's all these, now Squatter Camp is becoming Squatter Camp. There's a Tab, like he's like the Tab now. There's, you know, there's like all these
cashless societies and
dudes
them
mushrooming all over the place. But importantly, there's also these different brands mushrooming all over. There was an era where for you to have a brand, you just take a T-shirt and then you take a spray can and then it's a brand. So there was that happening as well. And also I realized that a lot of the cool stuff we wanted to wear, we couldn't really find, right? And that's when then you started bringing like some of the Adidas stuff and some of the, you know, sneakers where you get like a certificate and, you know, all these sort of things then. And then obviously vinyl, because the only people who were selling records was Soul Candy, and they were selling in House Africa. So you couldn't really get a variety of hip hop. So that we stocked like hip hop. So all the DJs knew. That's how I met Ken Zero, where he was coming to buy records at the store. So I think that's what then this ritual thing becomes. And because I'm exposed firsthand to like all these elements, and also it became the graffiti store because that's where everyone could get paint from.
Sure.
So it catered for the graffiti guys, it catered for the fashion guys, it catered for the rappers, for the producers, and all these things. And I thought to myself, shit, it would be so amazing if all these people were to get on a stage and show other people, because, you know, there's amazing graffiti happening, there's amazing fashion, there's, you know. And then I went to a friend of mine, Dominique Soma, who was like in eventing, and was like, yo, I want to do this thing under the bridge. Think about,
shout out,
yeah, we paint the bridge. Obviously, it was like dreaming, because like, who the hell's gonna allow you to paint graffiti on the M1 bridge? You know what I mean? And we put a stage here. We're gonna have this, and I reached out to someone like a Vokes, because he was like a prolific dancer. I was like, Vokes, we're gonna do a second stage. You know, we're gonna do all of these. Plus, you're already messing with Red Bull. Maybe Red Bull can. You know, I remember that year, the Red Bull sponsored me with 1,000 rand.
It was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, it was 1,000 rand.
Hey, man.
I can take 1,000 today.
Yeah, it's 1,000 rand. So because no one believed in it.
Yeah.
It was because 15 years ago, why would there be a hip hop festival? Like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Especially at the height of Kwaito.
Yeah.
And house.
And house.
Who cares?
Yeah, that time was more house.
So
That
it was a joke. So it was a joke. And I could see why it was a joke. But my thing was like, but I've seen people come to the store and buy.
There is a market.
Yeah,
So I don't know what you're talking about,
So you
because
saw it live jive. Like
people are buying.
Yeah, in real
know?
life.
When Pro K drops his CD, people are buying. When this one, I remember Julian Bhutan Wear, you know, when we gave him that shelf space, no one knew him. No one knew that Bhutan thing. But you could just tell, like, those two, I still remember it reminded me of Echo in the early days.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Mark Echo was also a graffiti artist.
Yeah.
So my confidence came from there. I knew they'll come because I saw them. I've got a database I've got a database from mixtapes, got a database of people buying in the store. I just send bulk emails, I send bulk SMSs, and I know they'll know and they'll come. And I remember the first 2 years was free. I think that first year there was about 3,500 people that came.
And that's still quite a number, man.
That's
Well, it
not the
was big.
festival.
The first year.
Because that was the one that was under the bridge.
was under the bridge,
Because I
the
remember
first
you would have, I remember when we would attend, you would have the guys doing graffiti,
Yeah, right there.
you know,
Right
and then
there.
you would see it
So
shaping
they were
up
all over,
and while there's a
And
concert.
that's where that's how I met Kosi, because one of the first corporate sponsors, I think it was a year after, was obviously Sprite, right? They didn't give me anything, but they gave us a shitloads of Sprites. But anyways,
That's a
so
conversation.
because
for
we
another
don't
day.
know how these things work. So
the value
you
propositions,
you
yeah.
learn, then the 1 year they'll give you like 20, and you're like, oh my god, I've got 20,000 rand, right? But the core and the basis of it was always, since day one, every single person who's in that thing must get paid,
I was about to ask them, how are you getting them
irregardless.
paid?
I had to pay them
But how? Because if the first one was free,
from my pocket.
okay.
So
I thought they were doing it for the culture, to be honest.
everybody got
I
paid.
used to think,
Whether I paid you 1,000 rand, whether I paid you 3,000, I said
There was a
you
transaction.
gotta get paid.
Yeah, we got paid.
Right? where that then later on comes in, the importance of that train of thought was when I then met Mizi, right? Who at the time was starting
Mizi.
to be
Hype
editor of Hype magazine. And we had this crazy concept called the hip hop economy. And then we literally let's devise something called hip hop economy. So what we're gonna then do is everywhere and everything we do, we say the words hip hop economy and we explain how hip hop economy works. Must remember then, the only person getting paid was the rapper. The producer wasn't getting paid. The engineer wasn't getting paid. The designer wasn't getting paid. Because why? He's the homie,
yeah.
right? But the artist goes and performs somewhere and then they give him a check or something, even if it's 5,000 rand or 400, whatever it was. So the value chain was really not really there, right? Maybe in other provinces it was. So let me speak about where in my province. And he then starts running articles, hip hop economy. When
on
Hype. I think at the time I think around that time then we did the Bridge show. I think. So we did the Bridge, and at the time, same Bridge, I had a TV show. So the idea now was we found ourselves with a big YFM show, with a big hip hop show on TV. We've got this festival, there's the store. And what that means now is that we can literally create these repeated patterns. We could do these things. We could the producer can imagine, you know what I mean? You speak about it. When you interview someone, you slip it in there, So what you're doing now is you're putting it in the air.
Planting the idea.
You know what I mean? Until now, the producer is like, nah, fuck you, pay me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until, now we're able to sustain, ourselves. And I think that's the beauty about looking at the culture now, a lot of people live off it. You know what I mean? So there was that festival, and then I think years later, we did the Hip Hop Awards, and the point of the awards 11 years ago was, everybody's like a star now, and everybody getting money, and it's it should be so cool to have a platform
That celebrates
that
just us.
celebrates, us, because you're gonna go to other awards show, and they're gonna give you that one. They're gonna give you that 1 minute, and then show one performance. That's it. How's about a night of our own? You know? And once again, it was a joke. I'm sure some of you guys remember. It was hey, they're forced at these ones, and it's it all makes sense. And now it's sitting with 5 million viewers on SABC1. So, and then there was this thing that we in. So, then 6 years ago, the idea was when I realized that everywhere you go, it's almost impossible to find history that celebrates us as Black people. So everywhere you go, it's painful memories. So you go to Apartheid Museum, you go You know, there's nothing that says, this guy was
Achieving celebration,
he
yeah.
did this. Oh my God, look at this guy. It's none of that, you know. And I'm like, oh snap! How come there's no jazz museum? How come there's no TV museum? How come there's no radio museum? How come there's no sport museum or soccer museum? It's like, oh snap! I'm gonna do the hip hop museum. It actually started out as I'm gonna do the South African Music Museum because I got a building. I had ended up getting a building just down the road. But when I looked at what it's going to take to do it and the conversations that were starting, I was like, nah, this one is heavier. This is too heavy on me. I'm rather going to go to my culture and do this hip-hop museum. And once again, they said, hip-hop museum, why would you go to a hip-hop museum? Like, you know? And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll show you.
I'll be a joke again.
And then I'll be the joke. And then started building. We're still building here.
It's beautiful,
You
bro.
know, and all these things, I must say, it's not, let's not misunderstand. Like, I'm not like one guy and I'm like, dream it and I make it. No, because I've got a whole team, you know, that take in some of these like strange things. Because I'm like, yo, imagine we had da-da-da-da-da, we could do da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And sometimes it's like, nah, that's not gonna work. But I'm like, just if we lose, we lost money. But it'd be a fun experience, wouldn't it? So let's try it. And that's how these sort of things, like, I mean, earlier on I showed you those Madame Tussauds statues. I always started as a joke. I didn't think I can do that. Right?
Yeah, no,
so
they look beautiful, man.
I said, Madame Tussauds statues, but like where? Where do you, they don't even exist in Africa. Where, how? And when I was in China, I asked, you know, Chinaman, wanna make Oman. And then you find and you see them, you're like, oh shit, there's people who can do this. Oh, so it's not just elite people who can, you know, what's the cost? Okay, cool. Okay. I'll come back when the money's right. And then the money's right, you deposit and then they start. And then, you know, and actually Volks also played a very vital role in assisting with, because at some point I was like about to give up because of the detailing it needed, because there was so much happening. Like, for instance, you know, you need to measure the eye from left to right to the round part. I was just like, nah, dude, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's not
Details.
You know, just put a poster. Again, you know,
It's easier.
You know, but it's people like that, for instance. You know, your TTPs and your Bonsos and your Rashids and your, you know, all these guys on the team that will be like, yeah, it's not gonna work, but let's do it.
And you've been
We
with
just
us
wanna show
for a while, eh?
For a minute, yeah.
I knew Osmic has got the team on lock. When, I mean, we also kind of do events. When you can be able to afford to have your phone off on your event because the team is handling shit.
Yeah, that's dope.
Because we've been together for
Yeah.
some of the guys on my team I opened the store maybe 21 years ago.
Yeah, that was
Some of the guys
impressive.
have been with me since the store days, since 20 years ago. Some of the
I'm
guys.
calling Osmic because in fact about tech. I keep getting tech. I want to get to that.
Usually it's like I'm also looking for one.
Yeah, yourself.
And they don't want. So that's just in a nutshell. That's some of the things that I do, and the point of it once again is that how do we unearth this talent from, you know, this graffiti guy or this producer guy or this dancer guy or this whatever. Hence, when you're saying, you know, your viewers might not know, but that's by design. They shouldn't know. So they must just go to the thing and support the thing.
And support the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Because I'm not like the artist. Like, yo, put your hands in there, support me. I'm not the, you know, and I do that stuff for fun because I can. But the point of the work that we do is that the work is the thing that, you know, the people that are there are the ones that you should know and you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
That's what I do, and that's the point of what I do.
You know, I'm still stuck at a certain point, like from earlier on. And it's just like a logistical thing. How are you getting internet back in the day? Because Internet was a struggle for a long time.
I was
Still struggling now.
I'll show you how the fun part was, right? So remember now we downloaded on LimeWire, and it's like dial-up, the one when you do and it does the ringing, right? I had that in my room. Remember, I had a lot of money in high school.
Yeah.
So if an album, and at the time there was no MP3. MP3 was not invented. It was only Wave. So you could download these things in Wave, which is high quality.
What year is this? Yeah.
It was no MP3 24 years ago, 25 years ago.
97.
It was no MP3.
So what year are you talking of?
There was not even a GIF then. So an album will then like take you maybe 3 days to download. Yeah. But here's the fun part. The fun part is the CD writer, the CD were like, I think my first one was 2-speed. So what that actually meant was it writes the album according to the duration. So if an album is 60 minutes, an album is 60 minutes to write.
It's almost dubbing.
It's exactly dubbing. Because remember, the concept of that came from the dubbing, you know? But once again, there was like, what could you do?
What year is this?
You guys are trying to get the math right.
I want to get the math right.
Some things are not like adding up for me.
Kito's older than us.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Yeah. You're 84.
Yeah.
I'm a year older than you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But
At that era, there was 2 speeds. There was no 12 speeds.
you go 97.
An MTCD was
So
$60.
98, you're in high school.
Was how much?
$60, an MTCD.
A CDR.
A CDR at Dion.
Oh, I thought you said a CD.
At Dion.
Yeah, so
I wasn't buying these things because we didn't have a computer at home.
Yeah, we only got a computer. Madly, like
Like,
2004.
maybe that's next.
Yeah.
2005.
And already my writer was like 12 speed.
at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're dealing with 2-speed,
But
And I think I
guys,
still, you know what the beauty about
shaky.
it? Let me tell you also the beauty about it. That I found that same CD writer. When I was saying in the producer section, we're gonna have a Pentium R.
Yeah.
We're going to try from those sort of specs because that's what Dome was also using.
So that's the actual one that you found.
Found the actual one.
that's dope.
So what we've been doing is shopping around. So we've been looking at certain like equipments like the mic Dome was using. So
That
the
represents
first
that
Pro
era,
Kid
yeah.
album, how it was recorded, because we couldn't afford mics, but we could bootleg plugins, right? So we recorded. I don't know if you remember that. I don't even know what it was called, but it was that joint.
I don't know what this is, man.
You know that mic, man.
I think I call center.
So-
Or the one that
The one that comes that
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it
Yeah.
can
they
swivel.
generally use for
Yeah.
what's it called?
Gooseneck.
Yeah, well, gooseneck is like sounds. It's fancy. Gooseneck is like now era
Yeah,
fancy.
yeah.
I'm
But
talking
it's-
about then, because when you say gooseneck, someone's gonna think it's like that. No, I'm
Yeah,
talking
but
about
that's what it comes from, Mike.
sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you plug bomb
Irfela.
on your computer, and then so what we'll then do with Dome with so you had a couch, and then what we'll do then we'll put it in the middle of so in between the two joints, and then you kneel down and then you record.
But that's not whack because like
That's how the Pro Kick album was recorded.
the first time we used to record, like not me and him, even like when we used to record, we take the headphones and put them in the mic jack and use the actual headphone to record with. So yours was already more
We're
advanced.
using
than ours.
the sponge. There was an era where we
Yeah.
used with the metal joint.
Yes,
Yeah. We tried that, but that was like, it's not.
it wasn't the one.
It's
Yeah,
not the one. This
It's-
one.
Did you work on production on Pro Kids debut?
Some of those were my samples.
You were credited?
I don't care about that stuff. Like even some of those
When you say
songs
your
that I
samples-
made, I didn't even like I did that Father's the WHP and Proverb. I did that track. I did something on what else? On Zulu Boy, I think. I did some. But like, because I'm saying to you, those things are fun because I can. So I'm not gonna be like,
afford to do them. Yeah.
Where's my money? Where? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like even rapping. Like I've got 9 albums for fun. You know, I've got a whole album with Zabs just so we can listen to it to get like, you know what I mean?
Shout out to the homies.
Shout out Zabs. Shout out Zabs.
Was it always by design that you wanted to like keep like a written history of the game in SA? Because now, you know, like when you were speaking about some of the things you've done, like from the magazine, you know, like the idea for the magazine
to document,
you know, let me document what's happening here. Then the store, let me show people what's happening here. Let me congregate with people.
Documenting,
you know, the festival.
Yeah, let me not lie, man. It was
by design.
I didn't sit there and like, here's the genius plan.
Yeah.
Let me not lie, it was not that.
Yeah.
But what it was the need to, you know, like for instance, I'm sure when you guys started, you know, your podcast, you were like, oh, snap, we want to show people these stories. And I'm sure when you guys started, there was not a lot lot of podcasts. It was probably like 4, 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
try 9.
When the homies started, there was like, maybe
I actually had one.
Yeah.
I had a podcast.
What
I
year was
think.
it?
Okay, this is.
I'm gonna tell you.
Maybe it was a radio show.
I'm gonna. No. It was like proper. We shot in the shop. I still have the footage.
Is that
But
the
my
joint that used to be on Soweto TV?
No, that was the TV show.
Yeah.
So there was a version of that
Yeah.
as recorded to put online. But here's the problem at the time is that when I tried to put the same length of this TV show online, it was just pointless. It's the same as streaming. We started streaming Back to the City 8 years ago. It only had 2
didn't work.
people. And I was like, nah, this is an expensive exercise. It doesn't work. So my thing is why I was like, screw this thing. Because the effort did not match the outcome.
The return.
Oh, trust me,
You know what I mean? So
we know.
So it was tricky. So I needed. So I try and. The one thing is, I think that I've cracked is always numbers. How to make numbers. How to do, because I've realized that the value is in numbers. So if I do the podcast and I put it on this YouTube thing, and YouTube was still new at the time. And the YouTube at the time, you could only load, I think it was like 30 minutes or something like that.
There was a
so we had to
limitation.
like do like part 1, and I was like, nah, this is not worth it. You know? But when I go on Soweto TV and it's watched by like 400,000 people, then I'm like, okay, I'd rather concentrate
on this platform.
On this platform. You know, but the idea once again is always to say, how do you show other people these people? That's basically it. Only 6 years ago, it only hit me like, oh snap.
This is
You
how
were
it did.
podcasting.
This is how it did. Yeah.
You know, like we've not documented our history, right? And that is why I now advocate to everybody. I always say to peeps, take your phone, go to your great-grandfather, your grandfather, ask him all these things. Go to your uncles,
capture
ask them
them.
these
Yeah, I do
things.
that.
And then do your own little YouTube channel and just put them there. And whether you're going to give them to your kids, because after I do this museum, there's another museum I'm going to do. And the museum is about the normal person on the street that you don't know, but they've done
Amazing
next
shit.
level thing.
Yeah.
So it's like a shitload of people that you don't know.
Yeah.
But you go there and you listen to their story, because what has happened is I listen to people a lot. Like whether you're a hobo, I listen, you know? And then sometimes I'll find someone who's like telling you the story and you're like, nah, dude,
Sounds unbelievable.
that
Sounds
story.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, and then there was this,
Tell us
and you're like, what? You know what I mean? Like, there's an Indian guy in Brahm, just not far from Kenny's restaurant. He's had his shop for 65 years.
Crazy.
And then he was explaining how he did it, like how he was the worker, and then there was a white dude who was like the owner, and then like, you know, where he was getting the stock, and then. But imagine hearing that story, and then imagine other stories of someone who will, like, I got shocked. I did a shot, you know, a guy called Fairfaku, the great Fairfaku, the jazz musician.
Yes.
I did his documentary, and in this...
Is it related to Amifaku?
I was going to ask.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because you guys must know. Yeah, go check out Fairfaku. That's like a god, literally, right?
Peace to the gods.
So, and discovering some of the elders that taught him in PE.
Yeah, the
like peeps were touring the States and were performing Carnegie Hall in like the 60s and 70s, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's those stories that I think a generation after us are gonna need. Like, because the generation after us, I just believe, are in big danger, you know?
I think for me, the value, outside even hip-hop, like, of documenting history, there's always a correlation between history and confidence. Like, let's look at, like, the curriculum. There's a deliberate effort why history is documented through wide lenses, which, if you grow with that experience, they're almost selling you your inferiority so that you must buy it. Oh yeah, the greatness was white, like. But when you go to your grandmother or grandfather and they tell you some dope shit they did, even in the party, even in the rurals, you are like, fuck, I come from this greatness. Like, it almost inspires something out of you. Like, even when I was looking at the timeline, this thing, and it's like, man, I was saying this to you. Like, when I look at what Oz is doing, I'm like,
what am I doing?
It forces me to ask myself. Like, you know, like, but it's because now when you see it visually, like, you know, there's a guy who we have podcasts with all like the technology, but you question yourself, like, but Pro Kid, when he had nothing, but he went on to be known. For me, that's the value of documenting.
I think my thing is important, which you know, I advocate and I always scream about, is that you can't do anything in life if you don't have confidence. It's impossible.
And it sounds cliche.
You know, but I seen it, and I'm like, because the assumption is always that I came from that's like that weird assumption. But I'm from like, what money? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? But
what is study?
That is a whole in
Deep Soweto, right next door to Mshazafe. Yeah, which Zola.
Which is Zola.
Don't ring a bell. Oh, okay, Zola.
Can I let you like one eye?
Of course, man.
The
boys. So I come from that environment where, like, they'll shoot you right now, where, like, you know, and it sounds corny, but I'm not supposed to be here. It does not make sense.
Looking at the odds,
looking at my homies who are like doing crazy time. One who are dead from weird ass stories. If I told you what my homies do, or you know what I mean, or have done. But I found this American thing called hip hop that I felt connected to, and it made me do all these weird things, and not knowing or not seeing or not understanding that it's taking me far from the trouble, you know. Because when you say, yo, let's go to the bashing, I'm like, yo man, I got this mixtape to record. Right? But that's the same spot where one of my dudes got shot in the head.
Oh, damn.
You know? So it's those little things, you know what I mean? And so that's why I'll always say I work for the culture, because it's done amazing things. Everything I do, the clothes I wear, the food I eat, whatever it is, it literally came from because of the culture. And I've never ever had a job in my life. Ever. Like, I've been doing this thing
in primary school
since standard 2, standard 3. This is what I've been doing. You know what I mean? And it's made me meet a lot of amazing, cool people, you know, such as yourselves. You see?
We'll take it.
So, yeah.
See what you did
that's
there.
dope, man.
See what you did there. See what you
That's
did
really
there.
dope.
I'm going to ask something a little less kumbaya, yeah? Like, you started the story saying when you came up with the idea for Back to the City, you had a chat with Dominique.
Yeah.
Now, what happened to that partnership?
Shout out to the kids.
Hello,
Shout
Nana.
out to establish the voices.
Hello, Nana.
I feel like that's not going to stop.
It sounds like the Squid Games.
I mean, we're at the museum, man.
Oh, we're at the museum.
Then just tell people this is a sound effect we're using.
Oh, there she is.
Bad fun.
Oh, you can just leave them there, oh.
She's singing Jingle Bells.
Yeah, she's
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know it's Jingle Bells, but it's still
Yeah, it really sounds like that.
She's singing
Burna
Jingle
Boy
Bells.
coming through.
Should we continue?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Partnerships work. Sometimes they don't work. I think I was with Dominique for 2 years.
Okay.
I think 2 years. The festival's been 15 years now.
Yeah.
So 2 years or at most 3, if I remember. And this is like the first 2 free ones. I think it was 3.
Yeah.
And the third one. So you must remember that when 2 people come together, right? And especially if one has this vision. My vision has always been I want to see thousands and thousands of people consuming this culture. Remember where my thing with the graffiti, right? Where when I had the skill, I couldn't wait to put the skill on everybody.
Yeah.
Right? When I could shoot, when I learned how to shoot and edit, I couldn't wait to show everybody, like, yo, do this, because I could see opportunities it can create.
Yeah.
So the same thing applies to say, imagine what opportunities will come if this dude was on there, right? If this guy called Substance got on stage with this song of his and he hit the right note, or if this guy called Zagwe got on stage and this guy was there, and you know what I mean?
Okay.
But this is around the time when if you booked the most commercial dude,
Oh, you were whack for that.
you whack, right?
Yeah.
And I've always taken
sold
those
out.
bullets. You know what I mean? And I think her idea was always this must be
Preserve.
underground.
Yeah.
It must. I'm like, nah, dude. When I came up with this idea, the funny thing is, I still have that I jot a lot, right? So my life is centered around writing. So I write every idea. So for instance, if you see some of those drawings you saw on the wall, those drawings are 6 years old. So this wall here, so I designed this wall here. There's an actual drawing of it there on that wall. So and the thing is, it's designing with this purpose to say, yes, we don't have anything right now. Yes, it's a small platform. It's got these 3,000 people. But at some point, it's going to be like a big thing. The reason why it's going to be a big thing is because once it's big, it's going to be easy to get radio. And once we get radio, it's going to be easy to try to get money from corporates. And when we get money from corporates, we have a bigger stage. If we have a bigger stage, we can pay artists more money.
And it's
Snowball, yeah.
So what's the disconnect?
Commercialize it, keep it underground. But to keep it underground is not my idea. My idea is this thing must be big, and this thing must have the most famous artist to the most underground artist. And that didn't work.
And it's funny you should say that, because outside looking in, I would have said, okay, maybe I'm answering myself, because I would have said your purpose was always to put the underground guy on top.
That's it.
Yeah.
But think about it. The formula of the festival. Why did the festival become big? People. It's very simple. It's right. It's right in front of your face, right? All it was doing is using the famous guy with his 2,000 people, taking the underground guy with these 50
raising him
people.
up, yeah.
Now you've got these numbers, right? So everyone is feeding, because the commercial guy does not have access to this guy's market. And this guy doesn't have access to this guy's market. And I'm saying is, if this guy was to be heard by these people, you know what I mean? I mean, you remember, like I just made an example with someone like a Substance. Substance was a battle rap
Sometimes
dude.
the guy from Phosphorus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But remember when he made songs?
That high school girls song
Come
was
on.
huge.
You know what I mean? So as a result of doing those sort of things, you know? Like, for instance, there's a clip that I saw the other day going around of when Robo was performing. Because I was like, what if Java's market heard Robo? And that year, everyone was like, we want more. And this guy's talking about science, technology, space age, junk food, you know?
Was it the last one Under the Bridge where Robo performed?
She's performed a couple of times, you know. I don't know which year that was, but that's the clip. I think it's online. Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember Robo coming out. I think it was the first time when the Antwoord had just got overseas. They also came out and were still out here.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a tough one.
Was a
very tough one for them.
Because also the puzzle shop boys as well.
Because he tried to
was that a Back to the City?
Oh, you tried to
freestyle, eh?
Was that a Back to the City?
It was. It was
Yeah, that was a bit rough.
It was a rough one, yeah. It was.
It's before it moved to.
But because everyone there, skills were sharpened, you know, and skills were sharpened, and you can't come on stage and start singing.
You know shit,
At that point, you know, because the mood was like you can't sing.
I remember, but then he had this like repeat line that he had. I just wanna. Then the booze were just like,
yeah.
You know, but he still came back, so it's cool. I mean, he was there, I think, in 20.
We caught it nicely, yeah.
2018, 2019. He was.
2019. I remember when. When they came out.
Yeah, he's my man. I mean, I've known him since high school.
Wadi.
Yeah, when he was out, I went to Highlands North, he went to Parktown. You know, so the love and respect will always be there. You know what I mean? So
in terms of your temperament and composure, is it something that's always been there? You've never had to jump out the gate and say, like, and retaliate towards any
bad
harsh
press.
words or badness that comes your way, because a lot of it has come, and you end up still working with the people. A lot of artists have said, F Back to the City for like a year.
I mean,
then they come
2 years
AK
later, you
was here
invite them.
just yesterday. I was here.
I remember that one.
He was just here.
Osmic, you a dinosaur.
I remember
Dinosaur.
The disrespect.
You went on national
It was
TV.
on TV. It was on it was a big show.
Live Amp, man.
But even the
And then the presenters were confused.
who's
Who's
Osmic?
Are we not here to talk about your album? Fuck his album. Fuck that dude.
even some unknown stories where like people who were hosting would come to the ritual store and try to trash it because they said you hadn't paid them.
Yeah, you're talking about Scoop.
I wasn't going to say names, but like
Yeah, I was with Scoop. just
you know.
2 weeks back. No, you see, you must remember that when the negative comes, I don't take it as negatives. So when the artists, you know, would like swear at me, you know, and I mean, I get that on a daily, literally. I get attacked every single day of my life. There is like, if I showed you guys my inboxes, my inbox is sitting at like 2,000, 3,000 messages, you know, some positive, some negative. People put that stuff out, you know what I mean? And the reason why I'll never come out and be like, yeah, screw you. Yeah, you know what I did for you. Yeah, you know,
Keep platform.
You know, I'm the one who made you this. Yeah, when you were, I'm not gonna do that.
Don't threaten to block people.
No, because I understand.
Yeah.
So I understand because if you paint this picture that this dude is gonna help me get here, only he can help me get here, but this dude seemed not to be entertaining me, or this dude, he was supposed to give me this award, and this award was gonna change my life.
Trajectory,
But the person is not understanding that I don't give awards. I've got nothing to do with giving an award. You know what I mean? That's one. Number two, the person doesn't understand, for you to be on that stage, there's 16 people that sit there and argue for 4 months on that lineup, and I don't want to be in the mix of that, because I'm the underground rapper. Like I've said, there's underground and then there's that layer where we come from, right? So if I was to have a say on a lineup, you'll not know those people. I will go find the most metaphoric guy because that's my shit.
That's what you love, yeah.
You know what I mean? So for this thing to work, I also need to understand that I need to step out of it.
Yeah.
My role is to make sure that it happens and it works out, right? So I understand that frustration because that's what it is. It's frustration. It's the person feeling.
And you are the face of the organization.
And you right there, and also you easily accessible. You're easily accessible because a random person can call me and I'll answer them. I'll talk to you normal. You inbox me, I will answer you with respect. You will swear at me and I'll just like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So I understand, and it's not personal. When the dude goes off at me on radio, TV, and the newspapers, it's not personal.
Even if
it's frustration. I don't think it is, because let's look at everybody that's attacked me in history. Are they not back?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So it was not personal. So I would be very stupid to think that when this person is on radio and is cussing me out, it's personal because, like, but I don't know you.
Yeah.
So it can't be personal.
Yeah. I'm just saying the maturity of when I say you don't take it personal, even though a person attacks your person. Where, to defend yourself, sometimes it's so easy for all of us to kind of like, okay, I'll also retaliate in a personal way.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that just that the maturity of being
when you do that stuff, I'm going to call you. Once again, it's about the school where we come from, right? I think it's important. That's a very important thing. The school where you come from. So when you wilding out and you're doing these things, I'm going to call you.
Nah,
right?
but there's homies older than you. There's homies
Oh.
older than you that still don't adhere to those rules.
But also when I say the school, also it's I think it's about what you choose as well. When I say school, it's about there's things that make sense to me, there's things that don't make sense to you, right? And if I think doing it in this manner makes sense to me, I'm going to do it this way. But if you think cussing me out and doing all these things or breaking my window or scratching my car, if you think it makes sense to you, then that's all cool.
Okay.
But my thing is, I'm gonna call you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find your address and I'm gonna roll up and I'm like, oh cool, I'm here. What's up? I'm gonna pull up. That's what not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. Me, I'll roll up myself. I'll drive. I'm like, go like guy. Sure, this homie here. Hey, I'll call you with your government, Taba Maloy Taba Arts, where Taba was like, because there's been dudes that talk that stuff and I see him performing there, and I'm going to roll up. But sometimes you get there and the person's asking for pictures with you. Then you're like, oh, snap. It's not personal. It's funny, I saw some interview that J. Cole did a while back, where he was talking about there was this big trend, fuck J. Cole.
Yeah.
And then
Adam 22
and then it came from some store, like was this movement, but it was like huge. And then he was like, okay, like, but what did I do to these people? I don't know these people.
Yeah.
And then he rolled up. When he rolled up, it's like, oh my God, you're my idol. And then it was like, oh snap. Oh, it's not personal.
They just wanted attention.
I think you as a human, you need to look, you need to assess it, because I think, and I think a very important skill I've learned in the last few years was on social media, because what social media does is everything is instant. So when you swear at me, I instantly see it. And I'm instantly pissed off, and I'll instantly respond.
Yeah.
And that response takes things out of context, right? So I've now also learned a very important skill that I advise your viewers, that, it's a skill where you type. So whatever it is, you whether it's, even if it's positive.
Give it in your draft.
You type, and then you stop and then you read it to yourself. Like you read it. Half the time, you're going to find yourself deleting it.
Or leave it in a draft, read it after you're not mad.
No. I'm just saying anything.
Yeah.
Whether it's saying, whether it's saying
Okay.
yo, my man, props, yo, the album is dope, or props, the song.
Yeah.
You need to type it, read it out.
You know, I was asking you that, like, getting into the current climate of the game, especially with social media, because I saw like there was a list, you know, the most polarizing thing in hip hop is to have lists, you know. So who na audience thing listing now.
Yeah,
top 20 worst rappers. And then reason aba araba So for me, like when you were talking about how you address that thing, I look at somebody like him and I'm like, dude, there's something that look like they're negative because people love hip hop so much and they love you so much. But it's not that you are work. It's like somebody when they think this award means this for me, but they didn't check this with you. So when that doesn't happen, they quickly personalize it. But like he is one of those dudes that were like, we know you good, my bro. But like if you were to like take a minute and look where these guys are coming from, like you were the horse we betted on, man, like in saving the game, and now you went to Amapiano and then like I feel like there's a lesson there.
But I think you also must remember that, and I think it's the one thing that I've always I don't want to say shied from, but I just never wanted to be, and that's another reason why I just never even end up going back to like radio and doing TV. I mean, I could be having like 10 TV shows and radio and, you know, annoying all you guys every day. Osmic again, you know. But I'm wary of what happens to you when you become the public figure, right? That's why you bump into me in the street. You're like, it's Osmic, can we take a picture? I'm like, no, I don't do that stuff. I'll give you my number. Anything you need, hit me up. You know, have you eaten? I'll buy you some food, right?
But I just don't want to be in the picture.
No, I don't do that. But I don't do that stuff because I'm not in that field, because it's a dangerous field, because like you're saying, a person will be angry at you because you said this line. Why did you say this rap line? This rap line is not the line. I didn't want you to say that line. It's like, but dude, I don't know you. You know? But yeah, you don't know him, but they know you. Because why? Every day you're showing us your house, your car,
you've invented
your wife, your shoes.
Some sort of entitlement.
You know what I mean? It's not entitlement because you invited them, right? And you've said to them, this is my life. I want you into my life. But you also can't react different when they're like, your couch is cheap.
Your couch is trash.
You invite them to your house
because you brought them in. And unfortunately, that is the life of when you constantly there, you showing all these things and then they start commenting. And then also if you know, one of the ones that are fueled by public, like if they say you're the best, then I'm the best. And then you go down there and then there's like 100 people like, dude, I love you. Yo, your car is beautiful. And then the one guy is like, yo, man, those wheel caps are cheap.
You go to that one.
And it destroys you, you know? And you see some of these guys doing it.
It messes up,
you know? And then it's now what do? Now next day you go put like 50,000 rand 22 rims or whatever they call them, and then now you're shooting them for CD. So they're in Matatiela.
Whose day is going about okay?
Yeah.
After saying that,
you forgot to read himself.
And then once you put it out, like, you know, they be talking trash, but they don't know these rims, and then another one's like, you know, they never believed what God did. You know, and then one comment is like, damn, you got the discount joints.
But did you realize that early that you were gonna have to, you know, separate yourself from the game a bit, because, you know, like some of, you know, the institutions that you had are
quite big,
you know, integral in the game, like you know, the museum, the awards, back to the CD, the awards that you and I'm wondering how you do that, you know, because I'm going to assume that
you just take the conscious decision to say you want a healthy brain. Because dude, it cannot be normal when you drive out of your house, everyone tells you you're great. you're beautiful, you're perfect. You get to the garage, oh my God, it's him. You're perfect, you're the man. You get to the mall, oh my God, it's him. Everywhere you go, your family, your father now calls you, that's boo now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's not healthy for the brain.
Yeah.
Because what then that does is that you stuck on being a perfectionist. So you can't leave the house with that shirt that you wore last week Thursday. Because why?
You've seen it already.
They've seen the shirt. So I got to roll up with this one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I can't, okay, when I'm at the club, I need to pay this bill. Yeah, they must see me pay this bill.
I gotta
see
have
this
bottles everywhere.
And then I'm here, and then the presence of greatness is here.
Yeah.
But here's the problem about presence of greatness is, for it to last, you got to feel it, and to feel it comes at a cost.
True. Yeah.
And not just money cost, but your brain cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm wondering how you sort of are able to separate yourself from the politics of the game. You know what I'm saying? Because you are in a position influence and it's power.
Which can
and a lot of people would have wanted to be
in your camp,
so that you can drive the industry to where you would deem it.
I don't think you would want to do that when you're spending your own money.
Yeah.
When you're spending your own money, it's real. When you're spending your own money, it's like, it's nothing to floss about. Like we were speaking about the museum. I put millions in this place, and one day everything got destroyed.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Right? I woke up and I came here and
Niggas,
it was all gone.
Yeah, niggas out.
This was gone.
Niggas
right?
go league, man. Niggas go league.
And everybody said sorry and said, "You're great." Oh, okay.
Where's the money?
But
Your bad.
at the end of the day, I needed to go do jobs and take the little money I made from those jobs
and bring it back.
and start building.
Yeah.
And start building and then start building until this idea comes about. And once again, it's for you to see the greatness in all these people. There's a Reddy D, there's an Emil, there's Lance, there's a Hocha in the back, there's Godessa, there's a Emphatic Tabs. You know what I mean?
Don't forget the Les, yo. Don't forget the Les. Yo.
There's King Deleuze, there's
then you
King Casper there, there's King Questa there,
I think what you're saying, Oz, is important because, especially for the people that are blessed with having platforms, I think obviously the difference with you is that you've built your platforms and you could have easily abused them.
Yes.
Because it's your say. You don't have to go to a channel head. But it's niggas who haven't built shit. Using those platforms to be part of cliques and giving people opportunities that are undue simply because we're with the North.
Yeah,
we know with them South kids, you know what I mean? And I think for me, that's the value, especially if you're in something that contributes to culture and you happen to be a gatekeeper for that moment, don't then abuse it for these personal, factions and politics.
But remember, like I've been saying, at the end of the day, it's about the school you come from.
Yeah.
So, this is my lane. I choose this lane. I'm comfortable with this lane, and this lane is, I sleep with the 2 hours I sleep with a smile. But if then you do this thing, because we are all technically gatekeepers, because you guys get inboxes of, I'm the greatest rapper ever, give me a shout, give me
happened yesterday.
And then they're like, you know what I mean? How, and the person already deems you a gatekeeper because why? It's important to gatekeep. Because the reason why gatekeeping is it's important because it's quality control.
Yeah.
Right? You're not gonna have JJ Pivo on your show.
Shout out to JJ.
And then
JJ Pivo come on the show.
It's just an example.
And then he's here, and then you're asking him a question, and you're looking at each other with the answer. Like you just like, he's even asking you, like, Omang, dude. You know what I mean?
Your own way sometimes.
So I think it's important because once again, it's what gives longevity. Because if there was no quality assurance, brands wouldn't be messing with us this way, right? You must remember, there's these other genres that are super big, right? But there's no quality assurance. And yes, they can make money from the gigs or money here and there, but once again, can you do the same thing you're doing in 20 years?
15 years.
Like, Reddy D's been doing what he's been doing for like
Since
when I was 2 years old. Hoch have been painting when I was a year old. You know what I mean? You know, all these people here, some of these people have been doing this thing for a long time, and they can still do it. You know what I mean? So once again, you guys have been doing your shows for some time, whether there was funding or no funding or sponsors.
Still no funding,
but you have a vision of it.
And
if a partner comes in, it don't move you. It's just like, oh, that's dope. Oh, great, cool. Let's move right along then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I still want to go back to what Gabi asked, and like, because I don't feel like I got like an answer.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys catching a kid?
Yeah, we're
That's
catching
fine,
the
but,
kid.
like,
Shout out to the kid.
This is real life.
Yeah, I was still gonna go back to that. So is it the fact that did you grow up that way? Is it a thing a skill that you had since you were young?
Or who did you see it in that you emulated?
Yeah, was it a trial and tribulation thing where you got burnt once and then you learned, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I shouldn't touch the stove that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what was the catalyst to you being so thick-skinned? Because it is thick-skinned because you don't respond.
Not even thick-skinned, stoic.
Stoic, actually. Yeah.
I'm landed homie, you know. I don't know how to answer that one. I don't.
So it's just
I don't
been,
see
it's
my-
just been you.
It's just
I
innate.
just don't see anything special about anything I do or what I just like. It's just normal. So I'm like, why wouldn't anyone else just be normal?
See, the normal thing, right? Public normal, you know, because if a lot of people do it, that's what's deemed as normal, right? So the normality of someone saying "fuck you," the response is "fuck you too."
That's what I was saying.
But that's not normal.
It's fuck me.
That's an assumption that's normal.
Like you said, it depends on which school you subscribe to.
If many people believe it, it's basically fact.
Yeah. That's the saying.
That's the saying.
We're not saying.
Yeah, we're not saying that that's
we're not
real,
saying that's
but
real.
that's the saying.
That's the saying.
But once again, like, are you gonna move because that's how they moving, or are you gonna move
Of your own principles.
So it's
what I
just
mean?
been you. So it's just been your principles then.
I don't know. I think it's.
I don't think.
You know, there's things that you see in the world today, right? And you sit there and you're like, I don't get it. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I bet you a lot of us have those all the time,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
And you're like, no,
Especially
that's
with
not
age.
normal. I'm not going to do that. But then there's that crowd that thinks that's cool. That's
It's a lot of them, yeah.
But I bet you even them, if they paused and then looked around, they'll be like, Ish, it's not normal.
Yeah.
But
So-
that pause thing that you do,
Yeah.
where does that come from?
I don't know, common sense.
So I'm
Which
saying
is also not that common.
it's basically innate. I
It's
don't
innate,
think we'll
yeah.
get
I don't
the.
think we'll
Yeah,
get there,
yeah, I
yeah.
don't think we'll get the.
I'm so confused, man. Some of these things are like,
Are your parents like this?
I don't know, they normal. My mom is normal.
Because normal, it's like
My mom
as
is-
good as your environment.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say maybe. I mean, like now I'm speculating. The difference with a lot of people with you is that you've been in trade. Like when you instant that you're already trading. So maybe there were things you were picking up that other people, when they got onto the game, it's like, this is my braid.
Yeah, it could be
And
that. I
Yeah,
don't
for
know, it could-
you,
it could be
it's
that.
like
The thing is, I've never heard of a story with you whiling out.
Yeah.
And that's for a long time.
yeah.
I've seen them all out once.
But where did you see me while out?
You see, the fact that you turned around and said, "Where did you see me while out?" You know what I'm saying?
It's second. There was a
What was that?
second. You were performing at OST, right?
You didn't even touch on OST too.
Oh shit.
Oh, shit. There was that.
And then there was this group. Yo, man, shout out, rest in peace, my homie Blue. He was managing this group. Rap.
Was it rap? Yeah.
Rap was content and then
Rap, yeah. It was two
Never
kids
heard.
that like,
they had you
What were they doing?
chilling, and then they were
They
performing.
were doing
homies
something
were performing.
senseless.
and then they were jumping on stage, but they jump, it comes with a thump.
That's just regulating. It's like I used to. So when at the club, right?
Yeah,
When at the club. So the one time we had, and there's like since we had Sizzler there, right?
Sizzler Kalonji.
You must understand. That's like the Jay-Z of the, like that's the God right there, right?
Okay.
And there were grown men. The things that they did were to close the place for a month to fix
to the damage,
because they were like fainting because like he'll sit there and he'll touch him and then he'll fall on the ground and the one dude was putting holes on the ceiling like it was bananas, right?
Bananas.
They were going ripping wind. It's actually you know that thing when you look at a like Michael Jackson somewhere and people are fainting. You know that thing, Justin Bieber. Like I saw that with
Sizzler.
With Sizzler, right?
Sizzler Kalonji there.
And I was like, not the reggae dude, the God. You know, it's not the reggae, he's the God.
He's the God.
You know, so none of them obviously know me, and I stepped on stage, and I said, Ja, like. And I had to speak to these dudes. There's like 200 of them. I was like, but guys, I'm a bit confused. And I spoke to them normal, like you out. Like, look what you've done. Like, it was, you know what I mean? So I don't know if that's wilding out, but I'm just like, but like,
you can't
you jumping on the couch. You.
But he was jumping on the stage. That's what rappers do. They jump hard on the stage, and you go.
But anyways,
I'm wondering, man. Cool. Do you ever take time to evaluate the state of the game? Because with the things that you do, it's always the the levels,
elevate.
And then when you see the debates that are happening on
diss
the town,
tracks flying everywhere.
Diss track, okay, we need diss tracks to get the movement forward. Do you concern yourself about what's happening in the game? And the debates, the perceived back foot that the hip hop is at, and do you sometimes feel discontent, or maybe am I alone in trying to push this movement, to the next level?
Yeah, I do concern myself, because sometimes some of the outcomes might be a result in something that I would have done, and unintendedly so, right? So that's why a platform like the Hip Hop Summit is important, right? But not in things like battles or I think that stuff is cool. I think that that stuff is needed. Advocate for culture. Advocate for
healthy competition.
Everybody go bomb. Let's go bomb trains. Let's go. Bombing means spray painting, by the way.
Just so we clear.
In life, boss. 20 years from now. We're sitting addressing kings and presidents. Someone takes this clip and says, he was saying he's going to bomb us. So,
Osmic is a terrorist.
But where I concern myself is when I deem something dangerous, right? And I think the biggest threat right now, and that's why I had to say, look, we got to bring this Hip Hop Summit back, and even more so, we need to make it bigger, especially going next year, so that on the 27th of April, instead of doing the festival, we'll start with the Hip Hop Summit. And why? Because there's certain things that I can see, I think are causing unnecessary problems, right? So I'm talking about drug, the drug intake one. I'm talking about this thing about health. I'm talking about because a lot, the culture is depressed. And it's been depressed for some time. So when I started telling people that hip hop is depressed 9 years ago, and everyone thought I'm talking crap, and then now people are like, oh snap, You did
see what
say,
you meant, yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, because it's common sense. Why wouldn't the culture be depressed? Because you've got a lot of people that have put blood, sweat, and tears into the culture for a long time. Then you've got this new generation that comes in, and then they come in and it just pops, and then they make the money, right? And they make the money and they flaunt the money and they show the money. Imagine what happens to, the people that were chiseling, building this thing. And the person is 45 years of age, 3 kids,
With nothing to show for it,
divorced,
yeah.
nothing to show
nothing
for
to
it.
show for it.
What do? They start becoming angry.
Yeah.
But, and unfortunately, there's only a few that can make money off it because the game seems big, but the game is actually small.
In financial terms, yeah.
Right, in financial terms. But there's a reason for that, because there's very few people whose mindsets are on how do we extract value for this one, because there should be some unit in the culture that says, I see these podcasting dudes, I'm gonna go to government, get this 5 mil, I'm gonna go to this brand, get this 2, okay, cool, cats, I'm gonna give you 3 million, I need you to do 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna give
were
you
just
2 million, I
talking
need to do
about
1, 2, 3, da 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 da. And then now there's another one who does the same thing for up and coming artists. Now there's another one who says, I see these labels, I'm gonna put y'all onto Edgar's sports scene, you know what I mean? Then more people start making more money, right? More kids get into it in a positive way.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden you find a
more
shitload
people
of Jay-Z's and Puff Daddies. You need to look at how those people move. I look a lot at those people, right? And why wouldn't you? Because this is an American culture. Hip-hop is an American culture. So we should never, ever fool ourselves. It's an American culture that these kids in America started, right? And when they started this thing, it was these poor kids, came from the hood, and they just wanted to see success, right? They never came out to say, I'll kill you like this on the... No, they were like, I got the flying sneakers, I got the da-da-da-da, I got the... it was about
We gonna touch the
trying to
baby
be
first.
positive from your negative situation,
Yeah.
right? So they were looking for currency. That's what they were looking for.
Yeah.
To better who? Themselves, their peers, their parents, their community, right?
Nice.
But I think it's important for then this thing to go back to those basics to say, how do you make all this money? And how do you take the other 5 guys? You need to look at No Limit. How many people that dude
They
built?
put on.
Look at Death Row with all its negative stuff. Look how many
Cash Money and
people.
them.
Look at the Cash Money guys. Look at the Rockefeller guys. Look at every single thing that those peoples were
What
doing.
they produced, yeah.
Look at them now as grown-ups, what they do, right? It's by design when, what's his name, when Jay-Z said that line about
How many
he'll
billions came out of
never,
this crib?
no, he says I'll never drink
Something if Puff got Ciroc.
Yeah, if Puff's got Ciroc.
Ciroc, yeah.
Right? That's by design. He's telling the culture. He's saying to the culture, yo, we're drinking this now. So y'all better drink this. We're not drinking that. Why? Because that thing there, you can't support it because it's not supporting us.
He's not
right?
supporting the culture. Yeah.
And that is why when I look at brands, for instance, like Hennessy, right? Because when they came at me, it made sense because I had to look at, okay, what's in it for y'all? What can you do? But you see, when you start having a brand, when you point and they're like, entertain, like, yo, these cats are doing da-da-da-da-da-da. Can you hit them up? Yo, they say we must hit you up. You're doing this. How can we help? Then it's like, oh, snap. Oh, they open, right? So I think it's important for us to go back to those lessons to say, you guys have a podcast. How do you train these other kids? Because remember, the more podcasts they are,
The more the industry grows.
the more it grows.
Yeah.
The more it grows, the more there's money starts
The
coming
more there's
in.
numbers, yeah.
But if there's 3 of you guys the whole time,
Hoarding it.
No one-
Nothing's gonna move, man.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I answered whatever question.
Yeah, no,
I
definitely.
forgot what the question was.
And whether he's concerned about the everyday politics of the game.
Oh,
You
yes.
know what I'm saying?
Just to bring it around full circle, I mean, I think Back to the City is one of the staple things that people associate with Osmic. To them, that's like their biggest introduction to who Osmic is, right? And it's been a powerful force in the community for a while. Like we said, people have ate from it for 15 years now, and it's been on the same day. But now that day has changed. I mean, I assume due to pandemic and how it switched everything around and forced us to rethink certain things.
Yeah.
But also, you had made an announcement, I think it was 2019, where you said the next 3, if I'm not mistaken,
the last ones.
cities are the last. So what phase are you in right now in terms of, if that's still the case, in terms of wrapping it up, and what informed the decision to want to wrap it up?
The decision came from when I've always tried to advocate for more festivals, because I always said, imagine we had like back to the cities in all the 9 provinces, right? And when I started seeing quite a lot of other guys doing festivals, I mean, at the time, I think Cotton Fest was their first one. There were some dudes, I think, in Cape Town. Things were starting to happen. And I was like, oh, that's dope. That's exactly what I wanted. Because why? At some point, I started feeling like the festival was also getting in the way of people trying to come up, right? And other festivals. Because if you think about it, we take all the sponsors, right? And when you trying to come in, you can't get the sponsor.
You become the benchmark as well.
Because that's, if you're not at the level of Back to the City, so we can't help you, right? So I was like, okay, that's ended, so that the market, maybe, because there's others where we said, yo, I got the Sprite Connect, here's the Sprite Connect. But if you are still sitting at 1,000 people, you're not a festival. If you're still sitting at 2,000 people, you're still not a festival. And you and these people, for them to give you this X amount of money, this is what they're looking for, right? That was one. And 2, I just felt like I think I've done my little bit, which is how I still feel right now. Like, I think once I'm done with this thing, I'd like to concentrate on other things that are like super cool, I mean, imagine doing cool things like let's build housing, let's try, fix education. I do a lot of school talks. I do a lot of things where I go in schools and try influence kids and try to tell them my story and, try to be like, yo, this is how I move, and this is why I move, and this has been the result, and this is how I got to these results, and you know what I mean. So things like that, because I feel like we as a country, we as a continent, and we as Black people are just like in big shit, like in like the biggest, problems. And I think it's time for us to start thinking, the few that think they can contribute, what can you do? I've contributed whatever I can to the culture, great. I think there's a lot of people that are capable of taking and doing these things, but let's go into other things that we think we can help. What can we do, with schooling? What can you do in your community? What can you, all these things. So that is where my mindset is.
Nice.
And then, but yes,
have you considered? Back. Because I would imagine it's still a revenue generator with a lot of heritage. Wouldn't you be able to achieve some of the things that you are saying by then maybe keeping it without you being necessarily hands-on, and then say, oh, you've been trying to build your thing, guy, come learn here while it's still running?
Yeah. Well, that's what I try to do. But once again, a lot of people come in here and they're like, oh, snap.
Take the piss.
Oh, is this? Okay. Now I'm cool.
Yeah.
Because it'll break you. I mean, we're sitting 30 days before the festival. This thing cost about 12 million rand. Not a single sponsor has paid.
Yes.
So you must figure it out.
We're a few weeks away from it.
Yeah, we're a few weeks.
So you must figure it out.
Hey, man. So, what are the sort of things you're planning for this coming on?
The big thing I think with the team is, coming back, because obviously, like you said, COVID was an interesting thing. I obviously it was bad to a lot of people, but to some people it was amazing. And I'm one of those people where like COVID was like,
well, the lockdown
was an amazing thing. Well, the lockdown.
Not COVID.
Not COVID.
Not COVID. Yeah, there's the difference.
Yeah. So the lockdown, it was an amazing space for I think for young entrepreneurs, because that was the time to think out the box. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened, because I went and learned like a whole lot of new skills, and never knew I could make so much money sitting in my dining room. You know what I mean?
NFTs.
No, streaming. I was a king of streaming. Literally, I did like probably 80% of the streams in this whole country by myself in my dining room. You know what
do you
I mean?
mean?
I was streaming for corporates and government. Sitting in my thing. Yeah.
Shout out to
Posting,
Papercut,
okay.
So I was able to figure something like that sitting, because it was like, once again, there's not going to be a festival here. There's not going to be, we're not even allowed to come in here. Hence that incident happened, But what it also did then is that when we said, okay, cool, let's bring it back, then it was this whole thing of, okay, the hip hop month, how do we do this hip hop month using Heritage Month? Okay, let's use a different date. Okay, let's put the hip hop summit to make it a key thing. Because remember, the hip hop summit was always in the morning of it was a by the way thing, It was like 3 hours in the morning.
Yeah.
Let's make it
the main thing.
Let's make it a whole full day. Let's do these things. Let's bring in, you know what I mean? So that is the sort of the rejuvenation. So, and also just change we've got 3 internationals now. We've got
care to name them?
We've got of course, for you guys, of course. We've got I've got Lost Boys.
I can explain this life that I'm living.
And then we've got Talib Kweli. And then I tried to do Black Star in here, and I tried. It was done until
Mustaf's papers are still not okay.
Not even that.
Is he allowed? Do you even come back?
It was just but I'll attempt again. And then I've got Keith Murray. I feel like Keith Murray.
He's been.
Did not.
He's been.
Yeah, just
but he never performed.
Just don't bring him to the Val, please.
I saw him at that.
You still got beefs in my area.
Random. He got beef.
He left stories in the Val. Like,
You see, I think when he came here, he didn't. He didn't Keith Murray us. You know what I mean? You must remember how important that man was at some point, right?
Yeah.
So my hope is now he'll be there with heads and performing, and you know what I mean. And then also see if we could do some form of some of the locals to record with him in the studio.
That'd be dope.
So let's.
I don't know how close I'll get to Keith Murray. Please ask him to do the special delivery remix, his verse. Please ask him.
I doubt Osmic is going
to. As long as he does the most beautiful thing in this world.
When he talks that I'm here and I'm banging, kid, you softer than the Queen of England. Like, I think I told you about this line a couple of weeks ago. I love that line.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's do you one better. Let's see if we can get him on your guys' show. How's about that one?
You see, so, as official media partners,
it's all up to you.
As official media partners.
And guys, I've always said, I think I've said this to you. Like these people are, you just name time and date.
Yeah. Okay, now we'll do it.
You know what I mean. Now you know. Now you know people that are here, and you know whether we this podcast can take that one, this one can take that one, and you know what I mean, because they're here.
I mean, you gave Gabi Fabulous.
Yeah, we did Fabulous.
We're supposed to do another one.
We're supposed to do the Jada Kiss. We're supposed to do.
Listen to that stuff.
There was another one. We're supposed
beautiful
to do,
things, eh?
Man, those are big names.
But those things are still there. Once again, it's because now there's a festival, there's a museum, there's
do
this
it, man.
thing, and there's all these things. You know what I mean? But those things are like
accessible.
They're there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Salute.
Speaking of the vault, man.
Someone has to go to the vault.
Y'all niggas need to tell us that story off mic.
I need to hit the vault.
I don't know, man. I'm maxed out in terms of the questions. I don't know if you guys want to wrap it up. Or
Yeah,
I got
maybe
one more question.
You guys
I
have
mean,
more questions? Yeah.
One more question on a serious note, you know.
1,001, sir.
You're gonna
On
talk
a
about
serious note.
Let's keep it 100.
Let's keep it all the way 100. Do you feel bad for not giving us the mixtape of the year award?
Niggas are personal beats.
I'm just like, you know,
I'm confused.
I'm confused.
So I'm sitting right here all confused.
I'm befuddled, you know.
Like I said, fellas, me, my job is to pay the venue. So you know what you can fault me? You know what you can fault me with? That maybe you didn't get enough drinks, maybe the food, the
logistics.
the awards. Yo, got nothing to do with me. And some of y'all on this thing here know very well that, you know, that where votes come from. How's about that one?
Oh wow! Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Oh my God.
I got you. But I mean, anything that you just want to put out in terms of, you know, the upcoming festival and the upcoming things that you just want to relay.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about those things, man. So we don't have to say anything more about them. But my thing is, you know, if you're black and you're watching this thing, we're in trouble. So fix yourself, fix your neighbor, fix your friend, be positive, get that confidence, and you know, let's better ourselves.
That's beautiful.
So that we could. You know what I mean? Are you guys not tired of being robbed by a black guy? Housebreaking. Come on, man. You know what I mean? And these people that are doing all these things are our cousins and brothers, and you know who they are. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think the little that we have, it's that sharing thing. You know, there was a word that was coined by a white agency called Ubuntu. So so let's attempt to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because unless what's going to happen is those that are vital to this continent or this country are going to start leaving, and some have left. So, and what's going to then happen? Like, imagine I wake up tomorrow, I'm like, screw y'all. These dudes shot at me, I'm done. I'm going to America. I'm doing these things in America now.
You got connect.
And then you get robbing and be like, you know, actually I'm going to take my podcast to Japan. I think Japan needs me. Now, you know what I mean?
And then Japan does need me, but we'll talk about that.
That's a different story, you know.
On our show, we normally do something, you know, last words, you know, where we try to, you know, give the flowers where the flowers are due. You know what I'm saying? I know when you answered my question, you mentioned, okay, you know, it wasn't by natural design or your design, you know, but I think, you know, how the universe works and how things move, there was a bigger design, you know what I'm saying, from I would say your name. Well, I read who your name
I'm in
is.
tune with the universe, man.
Yeah.
I'm in tune with the universe. So.
Sure. So your name is Remembrance, ne?
My name is Osmic Remembrance Ramokati. What's the other one?
Remembrance.
Remembrance.
And
Lazarus.
Remembrance.
And Lazarus is important.
Yeah.
You know why? Because when I go through tough times, I remember that my name is Lazarus.
No, definitely, man. And the name Remembrance, I think it's quite profound and you know, just in terms of the things that you have done, you know, because with the museum and the Hip Hop Awards, you know, like the things that you have done, we need to remember. You know,
or we will remember you by
we'll remember you by the things that you have done for the game.
That.
You know
Thank
what
you
I'm
for
saying?
that, brother.
And you know how significant the word ritual, you know, that you've used throughout your brand name. You know, it's sort of like a religious thing, a ceremony thing that you have to do in a prescribed way. How we go to your festivals and check your award show, and how coming here could be, you know, eventually like a ritual for a lot of hip hop.
Does it?
You know, so it might not have been by your design sharp, but I think how things came
universe,
together.
It's in your name, man.
Yeah,
Don't be scared of that universe, man.
yeah, it was a big design thing. So, and I just wanna, you know, just shout you out for all of that, man.
Thank you, man. I
Beautiful
appreciate it.
words,
And once again, thank you guys for this platform. I appreciate, because I think the important things I always say to people is you must remember when you do this thing, it will outlast us, right? It's going to be online long after we did. It will be there, right?
Yep.
And I think it's important how it's documented, because we've just captured time right now, and it's going to be frozen somewhere, and generations and generations will be able to see this conversation. And, you know, one day I'm going to bump into you when you're like 85, and we're going to, like, you know, I'll be like, I remember you're wearing like a Salmon shirt, and, you know. So I think, yeah, I appreciate for you guys freezing a part of my
Taking
my
a
time.
snapshot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out.
it took 2 podcasts to get him in the room. Bruh. But I mean, I think for somebody that's not even always on the spotlight, I think it was important for Asli Majita, you know. I think some of the gems you've dropped, I think they help us in this new space, you know. I think when we go back, we're like, actually, this whole thing, maybe where we were dealing with each other in a particular way, actually you've encouraged it, you know, and it happened on this episode. And for that, man, shout out.
Peace and love, fellas.
Salute. Shout out to my moms.
Right, man.
Sharp.
Easy.